International English Language Testing System, whereas the TOEFL stand for Test of English as Foreign Language. To book your TOEFL exam, or if you are going to book your IELTS exam, so make sure that TOEFL exam you have to book up to 4 days in advance. So IELTS have two type of, right, the computerized and on pen and paper. Computerized means reading, writing, listening. You will go to the center, you will give your test. You're writing in the TOEFL, so not only you will be asked to write, but also you will be asked to listen. IELTS versus TOEFL. So today in this video, I'm going to take you through IELTS and TOEFL strategies and the question type, and of course the timing that you are going to spend. And I hope I will be able to clear most of your doubts after this session or after this video. So talking about IELTS and TOEFL, see, both are the English proficiency test, right? Both the tests are, you give both these tests to take admission, or in the colleges and in the university when you are studying abroad. Let me tell you, the IELTS stand for International English Language Testing System, whereas the TOEFL stand for Test of English as Foreign Language. Now, as I've told you that both these examinations, you have to give when you are planning to go abroad for your higher education, though it is for the immigration also. But yes, when you are looking for the work opportunity, or maybe you want to immigrate to the English native speaking country, so these examination you have to give. Now, talking about the IELTS versus TOEFL, the things that you need to know beforehand, right? Whenever you are appearing or whenever you are going to take this examination, there are a few things that you need to understand. The very first thing, that which test is acceptable, as per your requirement. See, most of you are going to take admission in graduation, most of you are going to take admission in masters, right? Depend that what college, university you are going in, you need to understand that what is your requirement. The college is asking you to give the TOEFL test, or the college is asking you to give the IELTS test. So make sure that you are aware before taking any of this examination. Now, if the institute accept both, luckily, you are lucky that fortunately if the institution is accepting both the tests, no matter you have given IELTS or the TOEFL, then absolutely the choice is yours. You are absolutely free to take any of these exams, right? Let me tell you that TOEFL is more common in American universities, whereas the IELTS is more common in Europe, right? So this is how you can understand if you are planning to go in any American university or so, then you need to see, though they may accept the IELTS also, but you need to understand it is IELTS or TOEFL, right? So you need to go through these criteria beforehand. Now, all these, both these examination, no matter you are preparing for IELTS, you are preparing for the TOEFL, all these examination will evaluate you on the basis of your listening, basis of your reading, writing and speaking skills. Like, you will have 4 modules here. They will see that how good you are when you are reading in English, when you are writing in English, when you are speaking in English, and of course when you are listening in English. So of course I won't say that which one is easy or difficult. See, both the language, both the examination will ask you to be good in your English language in all the 4 modules, right? So yes, you will have these 4 modules equally. Now we will talk about all these modules in detail, the type of questions and everything in the upcoming slide. But before that, let me tell you the difference. See, if I talk about the registration, so if you're going to book your TOEFL exam, or if you're going to book your IELTS exam, so make sure that TOEFL exam you have to book up to 4 days in advance. Let's suppose if you're planning to give your TOEFL in next week, so you are absolutely okay that you can book your TOEFL today also, or maybe in this week, but make sure it should be 4 days before. Whereas when you are booking for the IELTS, so you need to you need to prefer at least 15 days, right? Because the slots booking are very fast, because you are not able to get the time very easily. So make sure 15 days in advance you are booking your TOEFL, your IELTS exam. Talking about the duration, so well, the TOEFL is all about 116 minutes only, within 2 hours, right? Okay, whereas the IELTS, if I talk about the 2 hours 45 minutes, somehow you are going to spend your 2 hour 45 minutes. And this exam, you have to go in 2 different settings. The TOEFL is a one go exam. You are going to the center, you are going to give your reading, writing, speaking, listening, back to back. Whereas in your IELTS, you are going to give your reading, writing, listening, right, on the same day, but your speaking gonna be the different on the different day, or maybe on the same day but different timing. So yes, definitely 2 settings में आप अपना exam देते हैं IELTS का. Talking about the testing medium, the testing medium here, it's online and offline both, right? Where you will have online and offline both. When I say offline, so offline, offline here, like you can, in the TOEFL, you can give a home edition, but here offline means like not on computer, you can give a pen and paper test, right? Test evaluation, well, in the TOEFL and in the IELTS, like both automated and human scoring, both are there, right? Your score or your test will be evaluated through a machine also and through a human evaluator also. Now, speaking evaluation, this is what you need to understand. This is a major difference in the TOEFL and IELTS. Speaking may, TOEFL ki speaking may, you have to speak with the computer only, right? You have to record your responses, and then these responses, they send to the ETS and they evaluate and give you number. Whereas the IELTS speaking is all about 101 session. You have to go to the center, you have to sit in front of the examiner, and this is gonna be a 101 interview or 101, speaking session. Okay, this is the major difference. Now, talking about the type of answer, so in TOEFL, listening and reading, if I talk about, so the most of the questions are based on MCQs, where in the IELTS you will have MCQs also, you will have short question answer also, where you have to type the answer, right? These type of test scoring. IELTS, will give you score out of 9. It is a band scale of 0 to 9, whereas you will get score here out of 120 in total, right? So each module will give you marks out of 30, and in total you will get your marks out of 120 in TOEFL, whereas the IELTS will evaluate you on the band scale of 0 to 9 for your reading, writing, speaking, listening altogether, right? Now, result available. So TOEFL ka result you can get within 4 days, whereas the IELTS result, it depends. See, if you are giving computerized test, so there also you can get your result within 4 to 5 days. But when it is a pen and paper, so you will have to wait for fortnight. You will have to wait for at least 13 days, right? Then only you can get your result at your home. Now, talking about when and where can you take the test. This is again very important point that you need to understand. Well, TOEFL offers computerized test, paper version, and home edition. Now let me tell you the difference between that. If you are preparing for TOEFL, or if you are going to take TOEFL, so there are 3 different ways that you can take your TOEFL exam. First, you can go to the center, right? You can sit in front of the desktop or a laptop, I mean the computer, and you can take your test there only. Your reading, writing, speaking, listening, everything on computer, you can do that. Then you will have paper edition also, like instead of typing on the computer, you will have a pen and paper, you can write your answer. And it will have the home edition also. Now, home edition allows you to give your test or to take your test at home only, while sitting, while sitting on your couch, like that you can take your test at home. Now, there is a bit difference, right? When you are thinking to take your test at home, it sounds easy. Okay, I'll be at my comfortable zone and I can give my test. But let me tell you, you need to maintain the environment of your house. You need to maintain the environment of that particular room where you are taking your test, right? Nobody can come inside, nobody can go outside. Plus, for the entire 2 hours, you have to in front of the camera. You cannot even go down to get your pencil, right? So anything happens like this, so your exam will get cancelled then and there only. So I believe home edition जो होता है थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेसफुल होता है, वहाँ पर आपको बहुत सारी चीज़ें मेंटेन करनी होती है. प्लस आप नोट्स बनाने के लिए आपके पास एक वाइट बोर्ड होना चाहिए. यू कैन नॉट मेक नोट्स एनीवेयर ऑन रैंडम कॉपीज. इवन द एग्जामिनर विल टेक द 360 व्यू ऑफ योर रूम जहाँ पर आप बैठ के टेस्ट दोगे. देयर शुड बी अ प्रॉपर टेबल एंड अ चेयर टू टेक योर टेस्ट, राइट? So a bit complication. We will be discuss about this. If you want me to tell you more about this TOEFL home edition test, just write down in the comment box. We'll have a separate video for that. Okay, now apart from this, if I talk about IELTS, so IELTS have 2 type of, right, the computerized and on pen and paper. Computerized means reading, writing, listening. You will go to the center, you will give your test, right, on a computer. Speaking, anyhow, gonna be a face-to-face interaction. In the pen and paper also, you're reading, writing, listening, instead of typing, like your writing answer, your reading answer, you will be, writing on a paper, right, everything. And your speaking here also is gonna be a face-to-face session. So no matter you are giving computerized or the pen and paper one, आपका speaking हमेशा face-to-face ही होता है IELTS में. Now, apart from this, the length, right? The length of IELTS and TOEFL. See, the both tests have 4 sections. As I've mentioned, that reading, writing, speaking, listening, they will have both, these 4 sections, right? And here, IELTS is about 2 hours 45 minutes, right? Repeated information, and TOEFL is just about 2 hours. Like within 2 hours, you'll be able to do your test. TOEFL is a single test, right? It's a single test. I have mentioned that there is no break. Okay, whatever the break you are going to take, it will be, the time will cut from your time only, from that 2 hour only. So make sure that you are free and fresh before sitting for your examination. Now here, if I talk about the module, see IELTS speaking versus TOEFL speaking now. See IELTS speaking and TOEFL speaking, the very first measure which I have already mentioned, that the IELTS speaking is always going to be a face-to-face interaction, right? So IELTS has 101 oral interview and this will take somewhere 11 to 14 minutes of yours. So in these 11 to 14 minutes, you will have three different parts, right? You will have speaking part 1, you will have speaking part 2, you will have speaking part 3, right? Whereas in your TOEFL, in the TOEFL you will have to speak for 16 minutes and there is no human evaluator. You have to just speak, into a microphone, right? And all these recorded answer will go to the ETS, right? And they will evaluate your answer through AI also and through human evaluator also, and they will give you marks accordingly. Right now, talking about IELTS listening versus TOEFL listening, right? So IELTS, the TOEFL listening. First, let's talk about the TOEFL listening. See, the TOEFL listening will have total 28 question if you are giving computerized or maybe pen and paper exam. Home edition is bit lengthy. Home edition comparatively TOEFL का, lengthy होता है और difficult होता है, right? Recently they have made change कि computerized TOEFL or pen and paper TOEFL is easier than the computerized TOEFL and your this one, the pen and paper, right? Or the home edition. The computerized and home edition is easier than the pen and paper one. So make sure, you have go through enough information before booking for your exam. Now, the TOEFL has 28 question in all, and all these 28 questions are from the lectures and the conversation. So what happened in the TOEFL when you are when you are doing your listening? So here first you will listen to you listen to the lecture or you are going to listen to a conversation. Now everything in the TOEFL is under academic setting. So either you are going to listen to a conversation between two students or maybe a professor and a student, or maybe you are going to listen to a proper lecture by a professor, right, on a particular topic or a subject that they are teaching. After listening to that lecture, right, you just understand what I'm saying. After listening to the lecture, the question will appear one after the other. So while listening, you'll not be able to see the question on your screen, right? First you have to listen that lecture for 5 to 6 minutes with your all ears. You have to understand what the examiner is saying, right? I mean what the professor is saying. And after understanding that, you will have a question, 5 to 6 question each on each lecture or each conversation, and you have to answer that. So while listening, you will not be able to see that. Whereas in IELTS, what happened? In IELTS, you will have total 40 questions, right? And all these 40 questions are from the talk, from the conversation, from the lecture. And fortunately here, while listening all these things, you are able to see the question in front of you. So not only, here you can predict the answer, but also you will have a chance to understand your question and understand the content as per the requirement. So the TOEFL has 28 questions with a lecture from the lecture and from the conversation, and they have total 10 different type of question. You will have 10 different type of question, and the entire thing, right? All these 28 question you are supposed to finish in just 36 minutes. Whereas the IELTS, we'll talk about, it has 40 question, right, from the conversation, talk and lecture, and it has only 6 different type of questions, okay, which you have to do within 30 minutes. Now, one more thing that you need to understand, that why the TOEFL listening is a bit complicated than the IELTS one. Not only you have to listen what the professor is saying and what the students are talking to each other. More also, you need to understand the the speaker's attitude, the degree of certainty, and of course the purpose, right? Let's suppose while speaking he is making a sound. So why did he make that sound, right? What was the purpose? Like, why did the examiner say this? Why did the student say this? So not only you have to understand their conversation, but also understand the modulation, how they are speaking, what tone they are using. So on that also you will have some questions. Okay, now talking about IELTS writing versus TOEFL writing. Again, this is quite easy, I do find. Why? Because the TOEFL writing includes an integrated essay and an academic discussion, right? Total, you will have 30 minutes to perform on these two tasks. So what happened? The very first question will ask you to, write an essay. But when I say integrated task, so integrated what? So when you're writing in the TOEFL, so not only you will be asked to write, but also you will be asked to listen and read. So you will be reading something, you'll be listening something, and after reading and listening, you are going to write down whatever you have read and whatever you have heard, right? You cannot write down anything what you feel and what do you know and what is your opinion. No, you have to read on that specific topic, and on the same topic you'll be listening a lecture by a professor. After listening everything, you are going to write down the information. For example, reading is giving you the advantages of the online classes, and the professor is telling you that how these advantages are helping student to get their desired score, right? So after listening and reading both these stuff, you will be asked to write down. You have to sum up everything that they have written, they have spoken, and they have written in the reading. Whereas the IELTS is all about a diagram and a chart. Even diagram is for academic student, right? And if it's general student, so it's a letter writing. So you will have a task one, either a diagram or a letter. Now diagram is for only the academic student, letter is for the general student who are preparing or who wants to go abroad for their a permanent residency, right? But for academic student, it is a diagram and a essay one, right? Okay, now after that, if I talk about the IELTS reading versus TOEFL reading, again, see IELTS reading, see the TOEFL reading is about 2 passages. And in these 2 passages, you will have total 20 questions. And these 20 questions you are supposed to do in just 35 minutes, right? And here you will have again 10 different type of questions, right? You will have 10 different type of question. You will have total 20 question from the 2 passages, and you will have hardly an half an hour to complete this. Whereas in your IELTS, if I talk about, you will have 40 questions, and these 40 questions are from 3 different passages. Okay, and you will have 14 different type of question. Of course, all these 14 will not encounter in the same examination, but yes, out of these 14 you can easily see 6 or 7 type of question will be there in your exam. Okay, and for that you will have completely an hour, completely 60 minutes you have to do your IELTS reading. Now here in TOEFL, most of the question, I would say out of 10, 8 questions are based on MCQs, whereas it depends in the IELTS. Now, if I talk about the scoring, the most important part, the IELTS scoring versus TOEFL scoring. See, in your TOEFL, you will get score each section and a total score of the entire test. So here, what I want to say is, let's suppose if you are giving your test, right? So you are reading, so the total marks you will get, it's about 120, right? Where you will get reading ke liye 30, you will get writing ke liye 30, you will get speaking 30, and then you will get listening 30, and total 120. So out of these 120, you are supposed to get marks. So if I talk about on an average, so anything more than 85 out of 120 can help you to get admission in, right? If is it more than that, this is going to be a cherry on a cake. But yes, somewhere between 85 to 90 is considered a good score to take admission in. Whereas if I talk about the IELTS, so IELTS mein kya hota hai? Okay, let me erase this. Okay. So the IELTS, you get a band, right? You get a band score of 0 to 9 for each section. For example, you will get reading ke liye out of 9, you will get listening out of 9, you will get reading out of 9, right? You will get speaking out of 9, right? Let's suppose you got 7 here, you got 7 here, you got 7 here, and you got 8 here. They will plus, right, all these marks, like all these bands, 7, 7, 7, 7, and the total of these number, they will divide with they will divide with a 4, and then you will have your overall band score. So somewhere you will get 7, 7.5 or like that. So if I talk about the minimum score here, so anything more than 6.5, rest it depend that what university, college or the course you are applying in, but yes, the minimum criteria to clear your IELTS is somewhere 6.5 and above, right? So this is the scoring all about. So yes, this is what I hope now you are a bit clear that which exam you are supposed to take for your dreams, right? And if you have anything to discuss or anything that you want me to come up with, please mention in the chat box or in the comment box below. We are happy to help you. Thank you so much. See you again in the next lecture.